I don't know if I don't want him to die or if I do want him to die. It's just hard to say, you know.
In court, victims and family members learning about booby traps placed in the Aurora Theater shooting suspect's apartment. And for the first time, hearing 911 calls made from the theater early that Friday morning.
It kind of makes you imagine it like actually being there a little more, and it's something you don't want to imagine.
Victims of the theater shooting now seeking justice in an Arapahoe County courthouse. And we have team coverage of today's developments. 7 News reporter Amanda Koss talking to shooting victims about the accused killer's plot. And we start with 7 News reporter Marshall Zellinger, who just stepped out of the courtroom where the second day of testimony is just ending. Marshall?
And just as I walked out, the prosecution asked for the day to be over. For the last 2+ hours, we've been hearing from a sergeant from Aurora Police detailing the injuries of everyone who survived the shooting, and that he described 58 who were shot, 12 others who were injured, not by gunshot wound, however. It was either a chemical reaction to tear gas or torn ligaments from trying to escape. After the prosecution is done, and I'm told this is their last witness, one source tells me the defense will call around 5 witnesses to the stand. And again, this is a preliminary hearing to determine if there's enough evidence to send James Holmes to trial for 166 counts. The major news we learned in court today: there were 41 911 calls made from the theater in the first 10 minutes. In court, we heard the first call. In that call, you could hear a succession of shots. Boom, boom, boom. At least 30 shots in the 27-second phone call. We also learned that 76 total shots were fired inside of Theater 9. Possibly the most surprising information, testimony revealed that James Holmes bought the ticket to see the first showing of Batman in Theater number 8, not Theater number 9, where the shooting took place. A good chunk of testimony late this morning detailed the search of James Holmes' apartment and the explosives. An FBI agent testified about his interview with James Holmes on July 20th, and that Holmes had intended for his home to fire or explode to divert resources there and away from the movie theater. Air Tracker 7 overhead as chemicals found in James Holmes' apartment were blown up underground. But according to testimony from an FBI agent, Holmes said he set up multiple ways for the explosion to happen in his apartment. The first way, a tripwire from his front door to a liquid thermos. If that door opened, it would spill the liquid and combine flammable chemicals. 7 News there for days as bomb experts tried to secure Holmes' apartment. The FBI agent said Holmes set up an elaborate scheme. Jars filled with homemade napalm, live ammo, and smokeless powder. Those jars were connected to a pyrotechnic firing box. The detonator, a remote control he placed near the back dumpster, along with a remote-controlled car. He also set up a boombox in the trash to start playing loud music. The goal? Have someone hear the music, see the car, and use the remote, unknowingly triggering the explosives. Testimony this afternoon revealed that that remote control and the remote control car have not been found, that someone, a neighbor, found the boombox and the remote control car and took it. They recovered the boombox, which had James Holmes' fingerprints, but not that remote control. We also learned from May to July, he had purchased 6,295 rounds of ammunition. Reporting live, Marshall Zellinger, 7 News.
And we continue our team coverage with 7 News reporter Amanda Koss. Amanda, you've learned some victims stayed away today because of the intense detail of the testimony.
And one survivor calling it a nightmare. Testimony so intense, even a police sergeant breaking down on the stand today, leading to one of the recesses in court. Now, those 911 calls played back in court, very intense. You could hear rapid gunfire playing in the background, and this testimony, including the detailed actions of the suspected shooter. Now, we spoke with a widow whose husband was killed and a teenage survivor who was shot in the head. Listen to their take on the suspected shooter's mental health and justice.
I don't think he's mentally ill. No. I think he's in shock of what he's done. But I don't think he's mentally ill. You had all that time to plan it, write it, talk about it. No, you're not mentally ill.
I don't know if I don't want him to die or if I do want him to die. It's just hard to say, you know, because my integrity stands up for me and just says don't wish it, but in reality, I think most people know that's what justice is. You can't get away with killing 12 people. You just can't.
And you heard from Chantel Blanc, here to stand for her murdered husband. As for sitting in the same room as his accused murderer, she told us, quote, "He's not going to break me. He's not going to get emotion from me." She's not shedding a tear, not showing anything, saying she won't give him what he wants. Reporting live in Centennial, Amanda Cost, 7 News.
And you can read about the timeline police investigators have recreated about James Holmes' actions leading up to the shooting, plus the documents and information released since this investigation began right now on thedenverchannel.com. That is also where you can sign up for breaking news alerts for updates as new information in this case is uncovered.